I was a modest ranch chef trying to feed my daughters. Then a millionaire strolled in. The sun hung high in the Montana sky, casting a warm glow over the sprawling fields of my little ranch. Birds chirped happily, and the gentle breeze seemed to whisper secrets of tranquility. I stirred my kettle over the gleaming stove, the aroma of hearty stew filling the air. Each whisk of my wooden spoon echoed my dedication. A mother's love poured into each dish. But lately, the weight of my struggles pressed down hard. Balancing my fierce commitment to my daughters and their growing dreams felt like walking a tightrope with no safety net. On that bright summer afternoon, as I rolled out fresh bread, a sleek black SUV lurked down the dirt road, disturbing the perfect calm with clouds of dust. My heart raced. Who was this stranger invading my sanctuary? The vehicle parked under the shade of an old oak, and out stepped Jack. He looked every bit the millionaire, exuding charm and confidence. "Is that dinner I smell?" he asked, his voice like honey, smooth and deep. My hands trembled, flour dusting my apron. How could a wealthy man like him wander into my simple life? I invited him in, though unease curled in my stomach. The rustic charm of my kitchen seemed too small for his polished presence. Every simple piece of furniture, every handmade dish revealed my humble world, contrasting sharply with the sleek, modern lines of his lifestyle. As we sat down, I dished out the stew meant for my daughters, a meal filled with hard-earned warmth. "What brings you to these quiet hills?" I ventured, trying to mask my suspicions with polite curiosity. I felt his gaze linger on me, and a knot tightened in my chest. I needed a retreat, he said, but I sensed something hidden beneath his bravado. Just as his story began to unfold, my phone chimed, cutting through the growing tension. The urgency in his voice raised a chilling alarm. "I have to go," he blurted. "I'm on the—" My breath caught. Was this man truly in danger? My mind raced with questions. Was it reckless to help him? Could he drag my girls into chaos? A storm of emotions surged within me. Fear, compassion, that instinct to protect. Just then, shadows flitted across the wall. The evening sun dipped lower, and time felt as if it had stopped. What would I decide? I stood at a crossroads, the calm of my ranch threatened by the storm brewing in this enigmatic man's life. Hey, before you continue with this incredible story, I have an important warning for you. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube has removed their subscriptions without warning. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content coming up. And while you're at it, leave a like to help me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who is part of this community. Your participation makes a difference. Let's interact. The air thickened as I processed Jack's words. I have to go. I'm on the run. My heart pounded. Was he serious? His eyes darted to the window, shadows creeping up the walls, wrapping us in a cloak of unease. A surge of alarm shot through me. "What do you mean? Are you in trouble?" I whispered, fear spilling out, raw and real. He leaned closer, urgency painted across his features. "I can't explain right now, but if they find me here—" Before he could finish, a loud bang echoed from outside, like thunder raging in the stillness. My heart dropped. I rushed to the window, peering out into the dimming light. A second SUV, dark and menacing, had veered into my driveway. Men in black suits poured out, moving with purpose, faces stern. A chill crept down my spine. "Jack, who are they?" My voice trembled, the tremor of panic tightening my throat. He cursed under his breath, his handsome facade cracking. "They're here for me." Adrenaline surged through my veins. What do we do? But before I could process, a figure stepped forward from the vehicles. A woman, tall and regal, her gaze sharp as a knife. Time slowed as she raised her hand to signal the others. My breath hitched. Everything in me screamed danger. "They can't find me here." Jack's voice was tight, a thick knot of distress. "You need to hide." Then, in the unsettling silence, she called out, "Jack, we know you're in there. This can end now, or it can end very badly." I flinched at her tone. It was icy, void of humanity. I tugged Jack's sleeve, our eyes locking. Fear met resolve. "What did you do?" His jaw clenched. "It's not about what I did. It's about what I found." "What? What did you find?" I pressed, desperation bubbling inside. But before Jack could respond, the woman shouted again, "Last chance! Come out and speak, or we will come in and get you!" My heart raced, the world flipping upside down. This wasn't just a chance encounter. Had I let chaos into my home? I could feel the panic threatening to suffocate me. The weight of my decision loomed like a storm cloud over us. Jack turned to me, urgency sparking in his eyes. "Listen, if they catch me, it's not just my life at stake. It's yours too." Before I could react, he pulled open the door, ready to face the chaos outside. "I'm going to buy you some time. You need to hide." "No!" I shouted, the plea escaping before I could bite my tongue. "You can't. You don't have to do this alone." But he was already stepping into the night, shadows swallowing him whole. I felt a lump in my throat as the door swung shut behind him. My heart raced faster with every heartbeat. I edged toward the window, the world outside a blur of motion. I watched as Jack faced the storm, hands raised in surrender. But the woman's smile froze my blood. It was chilling. And in that moment, everything shifted. The truth ripped open. I caught a glimpse of her face, and my breath caught. She bore a striking resemblance to me. My stomach dropped. Who was she? My mind raced. Had he lied to me? Everything I thought I knew cracked wide open. What was going on? The storm was just beginning. The storm was just beginning. My heart raced as I pressed my forehead against the cool glass, watching Jack stand in the driveway. The woman's presence felt suffocating now, like a shadow swallowing the last light of day. I wanted to scream, wanted to pull him back inside, but he was already facing them. The dark figures looming like a pack of wolves, closing in on their prey. "Please," I whispered, my voice barely a breath. "Come back!" But he took another step toward them, his hands held up. I could see the tension in his shoulders, the way he seemed to shrink in the face of their menace. Then the woman spoke again, her voice cutting through the night like a blade. "Jack, you can't hide anymore. We know what you did." The words wrapped around me like chains, heavy and suffocating. What had he done? Panic struck a chord inside me. I was terrified, confusion clawing at my brain. Jack was running away from something, but now it seemed he'd run straight into a trap. "Jack!" I cried out, desperate. But instead of turning back, he seemed to lock eyes with that woman. And suddenly, everything changed. "Mom, I'm sorry," he shouted, the words bursting from him like fireworks, loud and shocking. "Mom?" My heart stopped. My thoughts spiraled. This couldn't be possible. Was she his mother? The resemblance hit me in waves. Their features so similar. The way she held herself, commanding and fierce. Shock rippled through me, freezing time as I stood helplessly behind the curtain. The weight of realization crashed down like thunder. "Mom!" I gasped, but the word barely escaped my lips. Was she really his mother? The woman's face shifted, anger and regret flickering like candlelight in her eyes. "You betrayed us," she spat. "You found something you shouldn't have?" "What did you find?" The question slipped out, desperate, echoing in the silence. Jack's lips pressed into a thin line. "I found out about the money, the deals you made. I had to expose it." Suddenly, a gunshot rang out, shattering the night. I jumped back, breath hitching in my throat. Fear surged through me, electric and raw. Jack stumbled back, one hand clutching his side. "No!" I screamed, panic rushing in waves. His eyes widened as he staggered to stay upright, but the blood poured out, a crimson bloom against his shirt. "Get inside! Run!" he shouted, voice breaking with urgency. I couldn't breathe. My hands trembled. The shock twisted my stomach like a vice. I felt like I was in a nightmare, unable to wake up. "Jack, no!" I fought through the paralysis, pushing the door open, but the chilling grip of reality held me back. The woman stepped forward, dark and menacing, her expression now colder than the night air. "You shouldn't have gotten involved, dear," she hissed, a cruel smile spreading across her face. "You have no idea what you're in the middle of." I stumbled back, nausea rising. I glanced at Jack, now collapsing to the ground. A stark reminder of the chaos unfolding in front of me. His eyes met mine, a mixture of pain and regret. That single moment felt like eternity. "Mom!" he gasped, a whisper, a plea. But instead of rushing to his side, she watched impassively, as if the love between them had been burned out long ago. The world spun around me. Were they connected in ways I couldn't comprehend? The secrets shifted like a dark tide, pulling everything under. I felt the weight of that single question. What had he uncovered? And just like that, the door slammed shut inside my heart, echoing the isolation that sank in. I was completely lost in a web of lies, betrayal, and blood, caught in a vicious storm with no way out. The storm was just beginning. My heart raced as I pressed my forehead against the cool glass, watching Jack stand in the driveway. The woman's presence felt suffocating now, like a shadow swallowing the last light of day. I wanted to scream, wanted to pull him back inside, but he was already facing them, the dark figures looming like a pack of wolves closing in on their prey. "Please," I whispered, my voice barely a breath. "Come back!" But he took another step toward them, his hands held up. I could see the tension in his shoulders, the way he seemed to shrink in the face of their menace. Then "Whoa, we know what you did!" The words wrapped around me like chains. heavy and suffocating. What had he done? Panic struck a chord inside me. I was terrified, confusion clawing at my brain. Jack was running away from something, but now it seemed he'd run straight into a trap. "Jack!" I cried out, desperate. But instead of turning back, he seemed to lock eyes with that woman. And suddenly, everything changed. "Mom, I'm sorry!" he shouted, the words bursting from him like fireworks, loud and shocking. "Mom?" My heart stopped. My thoughts spiraled. This couldn't be possible. Was she his mother? The resemblance hit me in waves. Their features, so similar. The way she held herself, commanding and fierce. Shock rippled through me, freezing time as I stood helplessly behind the curtain. The weight of realization crashed down like thunder. "Mom?" I gasped, but the word barely escaped my lips. Was she really his mother? The woman's face shifted, anger and regret flickering like candlelight in her eyes. "You betrayed us," she spat. "You found something you shouldn't have. What did you find?" The question slipped out, desperate, echoing in the silence. Jack's lips pressed into a thin line. "I found out about the money, the deals you made. I had to expose it." Then, everything shattered. A loud crash echoed out of nowhere. The sound of metal hitting metal. I jumped back, breath hitching. It was as if a bolt of lightning had struck nearby. A second later, the ground beneath us trembled. "What?" I started, confusion flooding me. But before I could finish, the air rippled with heat. The ground erupted, and flames shot up from where the SUVs had been parked. A massive explosion lit up the night sky, an orange fireball engulfing everything in its path. The sound was deafening, stealing my breath away. I threw my hands over my ears, panic flooding my veins. The blast sent debris flying, and I ducked instinctively, my heart racing. Jack stumbled in shock, eyes wide as he turned toward the inferno. "Run!" I screamed, pulling him back, but he was frozen as if touched by the chaos erupting before us. The woman's face twisted in horror, the tough facade cracking. The men turned frantically, some scrambling toward the flames, others rushing away. "This is not," she shouted, but her words were drowned in the roar of the fire. Then, just as quickly as it began, a shadow slipped from behind the chaos. A figure emerged, running through the haze of smoke. Smoke swirling like ghosts. I squinted to see. It was a second woman, standing tall, her hair whipping wildly in the wind, her features strikingly familiar. My breath came shallow as I glanced between the two women. It was impossible. "Stop!" she shouted, voice echoing. "You don't understand. They're coming for all of us." The world around me blurred, my thoughts raced. Who was she? The resemblance was uncanny, but I couldn't make sense of it. Was she Jack's sister? A twin? A ghost from another life? I didn't know who to trust. The night felt unreal, like a nightmare slipping through my grasp. The flames flickered higher, illuminating the raw fear on Jack's face. "Jack, we can't just stand here," I urged, desperation choking my voice. I grabbed his arm again, feeling the heat radiate off the flames like a living creature. He blinked, slowly shaking himself from the shock. "We have to go," he finally said, but his voice wavered with uncertainty. Behind us, The woman who claimed to be his mother shouted again, panic threading through her words. "Jack, it's not about you. It's about the truth." And then, as if time stood still, the air thickened with impending doom. What truth? What had I stumbled into? Questions swirled in my mind like a tempest, leaving me breathless. I grabbed Jack tighter, my heart racing. What was happening? And in that instant, the gravity of the moment crashed down. Would we uncover the dark secrets long buried? Would we be drawn into a web thicker than we could imagine? "Let's go," I yelled, the acrid smoke filling my lungs. The chaos behind us faded as we ran. But deep inside, I knew this was only the beginning of something far worse. "Let's go," I yelled, adrenaline pumping through me, as we sprinted away from the flames. Jack moved beside me, panting, eyes darting back. The chaos erupted behind us. Screams and shouts mingled with the crackle of fire. The smell of smoke choked me, but there was no time to think. I reached for Jack's hand, clinging to him like a lifeline as we dashed into the trees lining the ranch. Branches whipped at my face, the night closing in around us. My heart thundered, drowning out everything else. Thoughts raced. Who was the woman? Jack's mother? What had he uncovered? And more importantly, were we safe? Over here. Jack pulled me to a narrow trail, hidden beneath the tall grass. We crouched low, trying to catch our breath. The adrenaline surged, but I could feel a heaviness lurking beneath the frantic energy. "What are we gonna do?" I gasped, scanning the darkness for any sign of pursuit. They could be right behind us. Jack shook his head, his face pale. "No, they won't find us here. Not yet." But I could see the fear hidden in his eyes. This wasn't over. We stayed quiet, the sounds of chaos still erupting behind us. I closed my eyes for a moment, just listening. I wanted to calm down. I wanted to think straight. It was too much, too fast. Suddenly, the rustling of leaves broke the silence. I froze, my heart leaping into my throat. "What was that?" I whispered, fear clawing at my insides. Jack leaned closer, barely making a sound. "I don't know." Before I could process the dread, a figure stumbled into the dim light. It was the second woman, gasping, covered in dirt. Relief washed over me. "You!" I gasped. "We thought you were—" But then she straightened up, her gaze piercing through the night. "You need to listen to me. It's about Jack and your daughters." My heart dropped. "What do you mean?" I demanded, confusion and curiosity swirling inside me. "Jack, you don't know the truth," she said, her voice trembling. "About your father, about where you come from. What are you talking about?" Jack's voice was thick with disbelief. She took a deep breath, the urgency reeking from her. "You're not just his son. You're also something more. You're part of a legacy, a secret society that has been hidden for generations." "What?" I breathed, struggling to grasp the weight of her words. My chest tightened. Was this some kind of sick joke? "The fire. It wasn't just an accident," she continued, urgency pouring from her voice. "They're here to erase you, Jack. You stumbled upon something far bigger than you realize." Jack shook his head furiously. "No, no one told me. You need to understand. The connection to your father runs deeper than you know. You aren't just running from the past. You're running from a destiny that's been thrust upon you." My mind spun. Why was this happening to us? My heart raced, desperately wanting to believe this couldn't be true. "What are you saying?" I insisted. desperation creeping into my voice. Your father was not who you thought he was. He was a powerful figure in this society. And he left clues, Jack. Clues that could change everything. But they won't let you get away that easily. That's when the air grew colder, and I heard a deafening crash from deep inside the woods. Far away from the house, but close enough to jolt my heart. My stomach twisted. What now? The woman jumped, eyes widening in real fear. We have to move. They're coming. But just as we turned to sprint away, the ground trembled again. The noise erupting with a force that nearly knocked us down. The trees swayed, and then everything shifted. A glowing light appeared, flickering from the ground beside us. That light twisted and turned, illuminating a hidden path wrapped in shadows. As the light expanded, I felt an overwhelming pull, a gravitational force that caused my breath to hitch. Not again, Jack shouted, eyes wide as that pull intensified, dragging us closer. The woman lunged forward, panic etched on her face. It's too late. The time is now. You can't run from your fate, Jack. Everything suddenly went white, a flash that consumed us whole, and then silence. I blinked, disoriented. Where were we? I looked around, expecting the dense trees, but there was nothing, just an endless expanse of light. Jack, I called, desperation clawing at me. Where are you? But all around me was a deep, echoing stillness, and as I searched for him, a sinking realization hit me harder than any explosion ever could. What if running had done nothing? What if this was just the beginning of a new storm? I felt a chill creep over me, a deeper darkness lurking just outside this blinding light, waiting for the truth to unravel. And in that moment, uncertainty loomed like a shadow in the back of my mind. What had we stepped into? And more importantly, what had we left behind? The blinding light enveloped me, swallowing my surroundings. Panic fluttered in my chest like a trapped bird. Jack! I shouted again, desperation clawing at my throat. But the silence echoed back, chilling in its emptiness. Anxiety twisted like a knife in my gut. Every second stretched painfully as I waited for him, my mind racing with all the fears I had buried. Then, just as quickly, the light dimmed. Shadows crept in, twisting and writhing like smoke curling through the air. I blinked hard, trying to regain my focus. Was this another trap? The moment felt surreal, disjointed, and then I saw something move, a figure emerging from the shadows. My heart lifted as relief washed over me, only to crash again when I saw who it was. Mom? I gasped. But it wasn't just her. It was my mother. She stepped forward, illuminated by the faint light, an apparition I hadn't seen in years. Stunned, I could barely breathe. What are you doing here? Her eyes were wide, filled with urgent fear. You shouldn't have come here, darling. It's not safe. What do you mean? I stammered, confusion boiling inside me. None of this makes sense. In an instant, she stepped closer, pulling me into a fierce embrace. The familiar scent of her perfume wrapped around me, igniting old memories. I wanted to hold on, to bask in the comfort, but there wasn't time. A distant rumble interrupted us, like thunder rolling over the hills. My heart raced as I felt the ground shake beneath us again. We have to move, she urged, her voice frantic. "They're close!" The urgency in her words pulled me from the comfort of the past. "Who's coming?" I demanded, trying to tether my thoughts. Then, just as everything felt overwhelming, Jack stumbled into view, panting and wide-eyed. I raced to him, relief flooding my veins, but before I could reach out, I saw the blood on his shirt, stark against the pale fabric. "Jack, what happened?" He shook his head, looking lost, fear etched across his features. But then my mother cut him off, her gaze hardening, a wild fear sparked in her eyes. "You need to listen, both of you. This isn't just about you anymore, Jack. Your father, he isn't who you think he is." "What do you mean?" Jack's voice cracked. "Everything you've learned, the secrets. Your father was a part of it, all. The society. They'll stop at nothing to silence both of you." Suddenly, the world around us shifted again. The ground shook with a ferocity that felt alive. I held Jack's arm tighter, both of us looking for support in the fear that threatened to drown us. Then, as the shadows deepened, something astonishing happened. From the dark edges of the light emerged another figure. I squinted. It was the second woman, the one who had appeared at the ranch, desperately pleading. But her expression was different now, filled with something dark and terrifying. "Mom!" she called, voice laced with urgency. "It's true! We've been lied to!" My heart stopped. "Lied to? What do you mean?" "Jack, you're in danger. They'll never let you go. But that's not the worst of it." "What do you mean?" My voice was barely above a whisper, dread creeping into every word. She took a shaky breath, and for a brief moment, the shadows fell away, revealing the truth. "You're not just part of a legacy. You're the heir. Something bigger than you know. Your life is entwined with the society more than anyone could imagine. And your real mother?" The silence was electric. I felt the air shift, the weight of hidden truths crashing on us all. Suddenly, memories raced through my mind like a blur. Faces, moments, whispers of things I couldn't piece together. My chest tightened as the realization struck like a bolt of lightning. What?" I managed, my voice shaking. "Your true mother is part of something far darker and far more dangerous than any of us can fathom." Before I could respond, the shadows twisted wildly, and then, without warning, the ground opened up beneath us. I felt myself falling, darkness swallowing me whole. I reached for Jack, but the pull was too strong. I screamed, the air rushing past me. And everything went black. What lay at the bottom? The answers I craved, or the horrifying truth that would shatter everything I thought I knew? The world faded into darkness, a crushing void that swallowed my thoughts. I felt like I was falling forever. My heart raced, pounding against my chest, like a caged bird, desperate to escape. I reached out for something, anything, but found only emptiness. Then, suddenly I hit the ground. It wasn't a gentle landing, but a jarring thud that knocked the wind from my lungs. I gasped, eyes wide, as I tried to orient myself. I lay on cool grass, a stark contrast to the heat of the flames above. The air was thick with the scent of smoke, mixing with something floral and sweet, strangely calming. I blinked several times, the swirling shadows slowly coalescing around me. Gradually, I saw familiar shapes take form. Trees, their branches stretching like arms overhead. I pushed myself up, searching for Jack. Panic clawed at my throat as I realized I was alone. "Jack!" I cried, my voice echoing in the stillness. A chill ran through me. Where was he? I scrambled to my feet, surveying the area. Suddenly, from the thicket, I heard footsteps, fractured and uneven. My heart raced. It could be anyone or anything. I should run, but curiosity rooted me to the spot. Through the dense underbrush, a figure staggered out. It was Jack. Relief flooded me, only to be immediately overshadowed by dread. He looked pale, eyes wide with terror. He stumbled forward, falling to one knee, breathing heavily. "Are you okay?" I rushed to him, kneeling by his side. "Yeah, but I don't know," he muttered. I think we're not alone." "What do you mean?" I swallowed hard, glancing around us. "Who's here?" But before he could answer, the trees rustled violently, branches snapping. From the shadows emerged a swarm of figures, clad in dark suits. Their faces were obscured, but I could sense the threat radiating from them. "Jack!" one of them shouted, their voice echoing like a gunshot. "We've found you!" His breath hitched as he looked at me, panic twisting his features. "Run! Get out of here!" he yelled, pushing me away. But I couldn't stumble back into the darkness. I felt drawn to him, to stay near him, even as anxiety curled in my stomach. "I won't leave you!" The figures closed in, circling like vultures. Jack struggled to stand, fists clenched, but he was wavering. I could see the glint of fear in his eyes, and something else, something deeper. "You shouldn't have come, Jack," one of the figures shouted. "You have to understand the implications." "Implications?" I gasped, the word tasting like ash on my tongue. "What's happening?" And then it hit me, clearer than anything else before. "Jack, what did you discover? What did you find?" His gaze darted to mine, flickering with desperation. I found out about my father, about the society, but they're wrong." "What do you mean?" But the words caught in his throat as the shadows surged closer, attempting to envelop him. I gripped his arm. "Jack, you have to tell me!" He drew a shuddering breath. "My real father, he's not alive." A heavy silence enveloped us, the shadows closing tighter around him. I felt the weight of his words press down on my chest. What did you say?" My voice was trembling now. But before he could respond, a gunshot rang out, slicing through the air like a blade. I flinched, my heart racing. The darkness beneath me seemed to quaver. "Stand down!" someone shouted, but the command felt hollow amidst the evolving chaos. Shadows danced, and in that moment, it all shattered. The figure closest to us fell back, revealing a familiar face, one I thought I would never see again. "Jack!" she gasped, stumbling out of the dark. It was her, the woman who looked like me. "It's too late! We can't let you leave!" The world stopped. My heart dropped. "What? You're—" "Yes, I am," she snapped, her voice determined, cutting through the noise. "You don't understand what you and Jack are." But then the ground shook violently again, and before anyone could react, a blinding light erupted from the earth, swallowing everything whole. I could hear muffled voices, distant screams, But it was too late to flee. We were caught in the middle of it. My entire reality began to dissolve. And then, like a film reel rewinding, vivid images flashed through my mind. A hidden room, a family, a legacy, all moments that had been locked away in time. As the vibrations intensified, I caught Jack's terrified gaze, the fear in his eyes, a mirror of my own. "What's happening?" I shouted, grasping for answers. And as the light engulfed us, another voice broke through. "You don't know your true lineage." Everything snapped into chaos as I felt myself tugged into the unknown. And in that moment, I realized the truth, that what I had thought I knew was merely the surface of something much deeper. The blinding light engulfed us, swallowing everything whole. I could hardly breathe, my mind spinning with chaos as images of my life raced through me. Jack was still beside me, but I could feel the distance growing, like a chasm pulling us apart. "Jack!" I screamed, fear clawing at my throat. But no answer came. Everything was silent except for the chaos in my heart. And then, like a crack of thunder, the light exploded outward, forcing us back. I stumbled, clutching my head. My senses whirled as I fell into darkness again. Just when I thought I was lost forever, the light softened. Slowly, I opened my eyes. We were no longer in the forest. I gasped in shock at the sight around me. This wasn't just any place. This looked like an old mansion, its walls covered in dust, the air thick with history. Strange artifacts lined the room. Paintings, strange statues, and what looked like ancient texts scattered across tables. It felt both familiar and unsettling. "Where are we?" I whispered, dread spilling into my stomach. Jack shook his head, clearly just as confused. "I don't know, but we have to move." Before we could take a step, the door creaked open. The same woman who had confronted Jack earlier stepped inside, her expression twisted in a mixture of fear and determination. "Jack, you need to listen," she cried, but before she could say more, she froze, her eyes darting to something behind us. "What?" I asked, instinctively turning to look, but the shadows were still and unnaturally quiet. "You've lost time," she whispered urgently. "You don't understand what's at stake." "Show us!" Jack snapped, the tension cracking like a whip between us. "What's going on? You're telling me all these lies?" She took a deep breath, her eyes wild. "You'll never believe me. Gut your mother." And just then, the building shook violently, walls trembling, dust raining down. Jack and I grabbed each other to stay standing. I could feel his heartbeat racing against my palm. "Listen!" she shouted over the trembling floor. "You have to understand, your mother didn't die. She chose to disappear. She's alive, and she's part of this legacy." "What?" My voice cracked, disbelief slamming through me like a freight train. "You're lying!" "No," she insisted, desperation etched in every word. She knew too much. The secrets were too dangerous for her. "Stop!" Jack shouted, his face pale. "Just stop!" "My mother died when I was just a kid. I won't believe this." At his words, something inside the woman crumbled. Her expression shifted, revealing a vulnerability that sent chills down my spine. "I'm sorry, Jack. I had to protect you. We all had to, until now." "Protect me?" Jack's voice shook with disbelief. "From what?" But before she could respond, A low growl echoed through the room. The shadows darkened, and figures materialized. Men in suits. Their faces obscured, but their intentions clear. "They're too late," one of them sneered, stepping forward, eyes narrowed with malice. "We've been waiting for this moment. We'll finish what we started." I felt ice seep into my veins. Jack turned to me, fear etched on his face. "Run!" he shouted. But before we could move, the room shattered, walls crumbling, shadows stretching. I screamed as I was pulled away, the world splitting beneath me, darkness reclaiming me once again. And as the void swallowed me whole, a shocking realization hit me. The woman, the history, Jack, all of it had woven a tapestry far larger than I ever imagined. Were we even who we thought we were? Then a blinding flash sent everything spinning again. My heart raced, questions swirling in the chaos. What was the truth? Where was Jack? And more terrifyingly, who was I really? The world faded into darkness, a crushing void that swallowed my thoughts. I felt like I was falling forever. My heart raced, pounding against my chest, like a caged bird, desperate to escape. I reached out for something, anything, but found only emptiness. And then, suddenly, I hit the ground. It wasn't a gentle landing, but a jarring thud that knocked the wind from my lungs. I gasped, eyes wide, as I tried to orient myself. I lay on cool grass, a stark contrast to the heat of the flames above. The air was thick with the scent of smoke, mixing with something floral and sweet, strangely calming. I blinked several times, the swirling shadows slowly coalescing around me. Gradually, I saw familiar shapes take form. Trees, their branches stretching like arms overhead. I pushed myself up, searching for Jack. Panic clawed at my throat as I realized I was alone. "Jack!" I cried, my voice echoing in the stillness. A chill ran through me. Where was he? I scrambled to my feet, surveying the area. Suddenly, from the thicket, I heard footsteps, fractured and uneven. My heart raced. It could be anyone or anything. I should run, but curiosity rooted me to the spot. Through the dense underbrush, a figure staggered out. It was Jack. Relief flooded me, only to be immediately overshadowed by dread. He looked pale, eyes wide with terror. He stumbled forward, falling to one knee, breathing heavily. "Are you okay?" I rushed to him, kneeling by his side. "Yeah, but I don't know," he muttered. I think we're not alone." "What do you mean?" I swallowed hard, glancing around us. "Who's here?" But before he could answer, the trees rustled violently, branches snapping. From the shadows emerged a swarm of figures, clad in dark suits. Their faces were obscured, but I could sense the threat radiating from them. "Jack!" one of them shouted, their voice echoing like a gunshot. "We've found you!" His breath hitched as he looked at me, panic twisting his features. "Run! Get out of here!" he yelled, pushing me away. But I couldn't stumble back into the darkness. I felt drawn to him, to stay near him even as anxiety curled in my stomach. "I won't leave you!" The figures closed in, circling like vultures. Jack struggled to stand, fists clenched, but he was wavering. I could see the glint of fear in his eyes, and something else, something deeper. "You shouldn't have come, Jack," one of the figures shouted. "You have to understand the implications." Implications? I gasped, the word tasting like ash on my tongue. What's happening? And then it hit me, clearer than anything else before. Jack, what did you discover? What did you find? His gaze darted to mine, flickering with desperation. I found out about my father, about the society, but they're wrong. What do you mean? But before he could respond, a gunshot rang out, slicing through the air like a blade. I flinched, my heart racing. The darkness beneath me seemed to quaver. "Stand down!" someone shouted, but the command felt hollow amidst the evolving chaos. Shadows danced, and in that moment, it all shattered. The figure closest to us fell back, revealing a familiar face, one I thought I would never see again. "Jack!" she gasped, stumbling out of the dark. It was her, the woman who looked like me. "It's too late. We can't let you leave." The world stopped. My heart dropped. "What? You're—" "Yes, I am," she snapped, her voice determined, cutting through the noise. "You don't understand what you and Jack are." But then the ground shook violently again. The darkness swirled. From behind her, another figure emerged. A man, tall and imposing, with a familiar, feverish glimmer in his eyes. "Step aside," he barked, and everything about him felt wrong. He looked almost like Jack. A brother? That realization hit like a punch. I felt betrayal sizzling in the air. "What's going on?" I yelled. "Who are you?" He raised his hands. "I'm here to end this," he declared, his eyes locked onto Jack. "You should have stayed hidden." "Who are you?" Jack croaked, but the man only pushed past the woman, a predatory grin spreading across his face. "I'm your true brother," he declared, his voice dripping with malice. "The real heir." Everything froze. My heart stopped. "What?" I gasped, the weight of the revelation crashing down on us. Jack's eyes widened, shock morphing into rage. "You're lying!" But the man laughed, a cruel sound that echoed against the trees. "No, Jack! I'm the one who exposed the truth. You never wanted to know what you really are. But your time is over. I'll take what's mine." He moved forward, reaching for Jack, but I stepped in front of him, my heart pounding. "No, you can't have him!" The brother lunged at me, and in that second, everything shattered. The air thickened, and as we collided, a blinding light burst from where Jack stood. "I won't let you take him!" I screamed, but the light swallowed my words. Everything went white. And then, just like that, it all faded away, leaving me breathless, alone, and wondering who Jack really was and what I had just unleashed. The blinding light enveloped everything, then faded into a soft glow. I opened my eyes, heart racing as the shadows around us started to settle. Jack stood nearby, looking dazed, but there was a light in his eyes, a flicker of hope amid the chaos. "Where are we?" I whispered, scanning our surroundings. This place felt different, almost alive, a hidden sanctuary wrapped in green and gold. I think we're safe," Jack stammered, glancing around. "But we have to find a way back. That brother of mine won't stop until—" His voice faltered. "Until what?" I pressed, feeling the tightness in my chest return. "He'll do whatever it takes to claim what he thinks is his," Jack said, fury flickering in his eyes. "I won't let him." Suddenly, the woman who had confronted him earlier appeared from the shadows. her face weary but determined. "Jack, you have to understand. This place will protect you, but only if you embrace who you are." "What does that mean?" I asked, voice trembling slightly. "It means you'll have to make a choice," she said, her gaze fixed on Jack. "Face your brother and the truth, or run from it forever." "I'm done running," Jack roared, the fury boiling beneath the surface. "I want answers." A tension filled the air, thick enough to cut. The woman stepped closer, her expression softening. "Then you must accept the legacy you've inherited. It won't be easy, and there will be sacrifices." Jack and I exchanged glances, fear flashing between us. "What sacrifices?" I murmured, sensing the weight of her words pressing down. "Loss," she replied simply, a hint of regret in her eyes. "People you care about might be hurt, but it's the only way to break the cycle." As if summoned by her words, the ground beneath us trembled again. "They're coming!" she shouted, urgency seeping into her tone. Jack grabbed my hand, pulling me close. "We have to stand together against him." "Together," I echoed, feeling a surge of strength. Together, we could face whatever darkness loomed ahead. Suddenly, the shadows grew thicker, swirling around us like a storm as the brother appeared, smirking. "Ah, finally found you. Did you think you could hide?" Jack stepped forward, the confidence building in his stance. "You don't scare me. This ends now." A standoff crackled in the air as the two faced off. Tension coiled like a spring, ready to snap at any moment. "Seems like the little heir has decided to finally play," the brother taunted. "But this isn't just a game, Jack. It's our life. We're not playing. We're ending this." Jack's voice rang resolute. With one last desperate breath, I felt courage welling up inside me. "Jack, we must do this together!" We surged forward, hearts pounding as we clashed with the shadows, determined to fight for our truth. The struggle was fierce, deafening, a whirlwind of light and darkness. And then, in a blinding flash, the light erupted. All at once I felt weightless, as if suspended in time. For a heartbeat, everything shifted, and I clung to Jack tighter, refusing to let go. When the light faded, we stood in a new place, fresh, clear, alive. The world hummed with peace, vibrant colors surrounding us. Jack turned to me, eyes wide with realization. "We did it!" he breathed, a smile breaking through the tension. "We broke free!" Tears pricked at my eyes, relief washing over us in waves. "But what about the legacy? What about your brother?" "We'll face that together," he said firmly. "We'll find a way to deal with the past." As we embraced, hope threaded through our hearts, binding us together. There would still be challenges ahead, but we would confront them as allies, as a family. In the distance, shadows began to recede, leaving a path lit by the dawn, vibrant with promise. We were finally free to explore what came next. Together, unshakable. But would the shadows ever truly vanish? Or would remnants of the past linger in our shadows? And before you go, this is absolutely the time to show your support. You must subscribe now to catch every exclusive story unfolding on this channel. Hit that like button to feed the algorithm and keep our community strong. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this ending. I can't wait to see what you think. And don't forget to share this video immediately with at least 5 friends who need to know how this story ends. Every moment matters, and